Admiral Kim Tae-ho peered at the massive alien ship on the holographic display. Even with his 20 years of space service, he had never seen anything like it. The vessel hung at the edge of the solar system, a dark shape against the stars, bigger than any human craft ever built. "How long has it been there?" he asked, keeping his voice steady. 3 hours, sir," Lieutenant Park Jae-yun replied. She looked young but competent in her crisp uniform. It appeared without warning. "Our sensors detected no approach." The control room of Orbital Defense Station Olympus buzzed with quiet activity. Earth shone blue and peaceful below them, its people unaware of the visitor that had arrived. "They're sending a message," another officer called out. "Audio and visual." Tae-ho nodded. "Put it through." The holographic display shifted. Where the ship had been, a figure now stood. It was tall and thin with 4 arms and skin that changed colors like oil on water. It wore something like a robe made of metal. "Greetings, people of Earth," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Vex of the Galactic Hegemony. We come in peace and friendship." Tae-ho studied the alien's face, looking for signs of emotion, but found none he could read. "Ambassador Vex," he replied. "I am Admiral Kim Tae-ho of Earth Defense Force. Your arrival is unexpected. We have been observing your world for some time," Vex said. "Your species has advanced quickly. We believe it is time to welcome you into the wider galactic community." Within hours, the news spread across Earth and its colonies. Humanity was not alone. An advanced alliance of alien species called the Galactic Hegemony wanted Earth to join them. President Lee Jun-gai called an emergency meeting of the United Earth Council in New Geneva. Representatives from Earth, Mars, and the Jupiter colonies gathered in the Grand Hall with its high glass dome showing the stars above. "This could be the greatest moment in human history," the president said to Admiral Tae-ho before the meeting. "Or our greatest mistake." Tae-ho nodded. "We should proceed carefully." When Ambassador Vex and 3 other aliens entered the council chamber, a hush fell over the room. They moved with fluid grace despite Earth's gravity. The Galactic Hegemony consists of 47 spacefaring species, Vex explained after formal introductions. "We have existed for over 10,000 of your years. Our territory spans 3 spiral arms of this galaxy." Screens around the room showed images of alien worlds, massive space stations, and technology that looked like magic to human eyes. "And you wish Earth to join you?" President Lee asked. "Yes, we offer membership with full benefits. Knowledge, technology, protection, access to thousands of worlds." Defense Minister Yoon Soo-jae leaned forward. "What would Earth need to provide in return?" "Merely compliance with standard assimilation protocols," Vex replied. "Unrestricted access to Earth for hegemony citizens, integration of your industries into our economic framework, contribution of reasonable resources to benefit all members." Tae-ho noticed the shift in words. Not cooperation, but assimilation. Not fair trade, but contribution. "How many ships does the hegemony have?" he asked. Vex turned those color-changing eyes to him. "Enough to protect all our members, Admiral. Enough to handle any threat. And if Earth declines membership?" Tae-ho pressed. The alien's skin flashed dark red before returning to its rainbow shimmer. "All civilized species join the hegemony eventually. It is the natural order." After the aliens departed, the human leaders remained to discuss. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours," Science Director Ba Jin-ho pointed out. "Think what we could learn." "But at what cost?" Tae-ho countered. "They speak of assimilation, not partnership." That night, Tae-ho couldn't sleep. From his quarters on the station, he watched Earth spinning below and thought about humanity's future. His security tablet beeped with an alert. "Admiral," Jae-yun's voice came through. "We've detected small craft leaving the hegemony ship. They're moving toward Mars and Europa." "Did they request permission?" "No, sir." "Track them closely," Tae-ho ordered. and prepare my shuttle. I need to speak with the president immediately." The next morning, Tai-ho shared his findings with President Lee and the Defense Council. "They're scanning our colonies, our resources, not acting like visitors but like surveyors. We need more information before we decide," President Lee said. "I propose we send a diplomatic mission to visit the hegemony's worlds." "A wise choice," Defense Minister Yoon agreed. "But we should also increase our readiness, just in case." As the meeting ended, Tai-ho gazed out the window at the clear blue sky. Somewhere beyond it waited the hegemony ship, and perhaps the greatest test humanity had ever faced. "They think we're simple," he said quietly to Minister Yoon. "Primitive and easily controlled." She nodded. "Then they have much to learn about humans." Tai-ho smiled slightly. "Yes, and I think the lesson might be quite surprising." Ambassador Kang Min-ho looked out the viewing port as the hegemony ship approached Nexus Prime. The planet glowed with artificial light, surrounded by rings of space stations and docking platforms. After 3 weeks of space travel, they were finally arriving at the heart of the galactic hegemony. "It's incredible," said Dr. Choi Thun-mai, standing beside him. She was Earth's top expert on alien biology, with bright eyes that missed nothing. "Look at those orbital structures. Some must be kilometers long." Min-ho nodded, but kept his thoughts to himself. The human delegation included 5 specialists, carefully chosen to learn as much as possible about the hegemony. President Lee had given them clear instructions: find the truth behind the hegemony's generous offer. Their hegemony hosts had been perfect during the journey. Too perfect. Lavish meals served on golden plates, private quarters larger than Min-ho's apartment on Earth, entertainment and comfort beyond anything humans had created. "Welcome to Nexus Prime," announced their guide, a tall blue-skinned alien named Loras, the crown jewel of the hegemony, home to 30 million citizens from 12 species. The humans were escorted to a gleaming tower in the capital city. That evening, they attended another elaborate reception with strange music and exotic foods. "It's like they're trying too hard," Yeon-mai whispered to Min-ho behind her glass. "Have you noticed we haven't met any ordinary citizens, only officials and diplomats?" Min-ho nodded slightly. "Keep your eyes open. Remember our objectives." On the 3rd day, their schedule included a tour of the Cultural Exchange Center. As they walked through a long hallway, Loros received a message on his device. He seemed confused and took a wrong turn. Suddenly, they were in a massive transport hub not on their approved tour. Before Loros could stop them, the humans saw hundreds of thin, weak-looking aliens loading heavy containers onto cargo ships. They moved slowly, backs bent with effort. Guards with energy weapons watched them work. "My apologies," Loros said quickly, blocking their view. "A navigation error. This is a restricted area." "What species are those workers?" asked Yeon-mai. "Tolani, a minor species. This is simply their cultural work preference. Now let us continue to the cultural exchange." Min-ho caught the eye of one Tolani worker. The small alien looked desperate, frightened. That night, while Min-ho reviewed his notes, his door chimed softly. "Enter," he called, expecting one of his team. Instead, a small figure slipped inside. It was one of the Tolani workers from the transport hub, trembling with fear. "I risk my life to speak with you," the alien whispered in broken human language. "I am Krell. You must listen." Min-ho reached for his recorder, activating it under his desk. "I'm listening, Krell." "You must not join hegemony," Krell said, glancing nervously at the door. "My homeworld was once like yours. Beautiful, free. We had cities, art, science. Now it is mining colony. Our oceans empty, forests gone. We are resource species, just workers for elite worlds." "How many other worlds have they done this to?" Min-ho asked. "Many. All new members become like us eventually. Some resist. Those planets suffer worse." When Krell left, Minho encrypted the recording and sent it back to Earth through a secure channel. Over the next week, his team gathered more evidence. They hacked into data terminals, bribed lower officials, and explored areas outside their approved zones. They discovered terrible truths. Planets stripped of resources until they became uninhabitable. Species classified by their usefulness. And most alarming, they found intelligence reports about Earth, describing it as exceptionally resource-rich with manageable indigenous resistance potential. Meanwhile, back in the solar system, Admiral Kim Tae-ho was dealing with a growing problem. Hegemony scout ships kept appearing near Earth's colonies on Mars and Europa without permission. When challenged, they would leave, only to return days later in different locations. When the diplomatic team's hidden messages reached Earth, President Lee called an emergency meeting. "They see us as resources, not partners," he told his advisors. Ambassador Kang has sent proof. On Nexus Prime, Minho requested a private meeting with Ambassador Vex. The alien agreed, receiving him in a grand office overlooking the city. "Ambassador," Minho began, "we've detected multiple hegemony vessels entering Earth territory without permission. This violates basic diplomatic protocol." Vex's skin rippled with colors. "Minor navigational errors. Nothing to concern yourself with, my dear primitive friend." The condescension in Vex's voice was clear. Minho kept his face neutral, but inside, his anger grew. "We're not primitives, Ambassador. And Earth is not a resource to be harvested." Vex's colors darkened. "You misunderstand. The hegemony brings order to chaos, structure to undeveloped worlds. Your people will be better under our guidance." "Like the Tolani?" Minho asked. Vex went completely still. "You have been exploring outside your permitted areas." "We've seen enough," Minho replied. "My team is ready to return to Earth." That night, Minho gathered his team. "Pack everything. We leave tomorrow. I believe once we report our findings, the hegemony will show its true face." As their ship departed Nexus Prime the next day, Minho looked back at the gleaming planet. Behind its beautiful facade lay an empire built on exploitation, and Earth was next on their list. The United Earth Council chamber was packed with representatives from every human colony. The massive room, with its high ceiling and rows of seats, had never been so full. Screens on the walls showed millions watching from Earth, Mars, Europa, and beyond. President Lee Jung-gai stood at the central podium. His face was serious as he looked at the assembled leaders. Ambassador Kang Minho sat nearby, still tired from his rushed return journey from Nexus Prime. "We have reviewed all evidence," President Lee began. "Ambassador Kang's team has shown us the hegemony's true nature. They do not seek partners. They seek resources and slaves." Images appeared on the screens. The suffering Tolani, stripped planets, and secret hegemony reports about Earth. "The vote has been taken," the president continued. "The vote is unanimous. Earth rejects membership in the Galactic Hegemony, and hereby issues the Solaris Declaration, establishing Earth and all its colonies as sovereign territory, closed to hegemony influence." The chamber erupted in applause. For the first time in history, all Earth nations and colonies stood united. Admiral Kim Tae-ho watched from his seat, face grim. He knew what would come next. The hegemony had never accepted rejection. "We must prepare," he told Defense Minister Yoon Soo-ji after the session. "They will not accept our decision." "How long do we have?" she asked. "Days, perhaps. The Aegis system is ready, but untested against their weapons." For 15 years, Earth had secretly worked on the Aegis shield system. It had started when a small alien craft crashed in the Gobi Desert. The technology inside was far beyond human science, but engineers had slowly learned its secrets. 2 days after the Solaris Declaration, Ambassador Vex demanded to address the council. He arrived alone, his skin flashing angry red colors. "Your decision is unfortunate," Vex said coldly. "Perhaps you misunderstood. Your participation is not optional. A compliance fleet has been dispatched to assist with your integration." President Lee stood tall. "We understood perfectly, Ambassador. Earth chooses freedom. We will defend it." Vex laughed. "With what? Your primitive weapons. The hegemony has conquered worlds far more advanced than Earth. Then why hasn't the hegemony conquered the Tolani homeworld yet?" Minho asked from his seat. Vex's skin turned dark with surprise. "What do you know of that?" "We know everything," Minho replied. "About the resistance, about the worlds fighting back." Vex turned and left without another word. 3 days later, 50 massive hegemony warships appeared in Earth orbit. Each one was larger than anything humans had built. Their weapons could destroy cities with single shots. Earth's conventional defenses, missiles, laser platforms, fighter ships, looked tiny in comparison. But Admiral Taiho remained calm as he stood on the bridge of the EDF flagship Indomitable. "All stations report ready, Admiral," said Captain Han Du-yun. She was young but steady, the best officer in the fleet. "The hegemony ships are charging weapons," another officer reported. "They're targeting major cities." Taiho nodded. "Just as expected. Signal all Earth defense stations. Prepare Aegis." Below on Earth, in bunkers, mountain facilities, and underwater bases, engineers monitored the Aegis system. Thousands of small emitters had been placed in orbit and across the planet's surface. The hegemony fleet fired. Streams of energy shot toward Earth, toward New York, Beijing, Lagos, Sydney. Taiho took a deep breath. "Activate Aegis," he ordered. Captain Han's fingers flew across the control panel. "Aegis shield activating." "Sir." For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the sky lit up. A shimmering barrier of blue-green energy spread from the emitters, connecting and strengthening until it surrounded the entire planet and its orbital stations in a protective bubble. The hegemony weapons hit the shield and dissipated like water on hot metal. Earth remained untouched. "They're firing again," Captain Han reported. The second attack hit the shield with more power. The Aegis system hummed and strained but held firm. Then came a third assault, with all 50 ships firing at once. The shield flickered but stabilized. On the bridge, a cheer went up. The impossible had happened. Earth had withstood the hegemony's might. Admiral Taiho allowed himself a small smile before raising his hand for silence. "Open a channel to the hegemony flagship." On the main screen, an alien commander appeared. Its skin was dark with rage. "This is Admiral Kim Taiho of the Earth Defense Force," Taiho said calmly. "Your weapons are ineffective. We possess technologies you have not accounted for. Withdraw immediately or face consequences." "Impossible," the alien commander hissed. "No new species has such technology." "Perhaps you should review your assessment of humans," Taiho replied. "We are full of surprises." After a long silence, the alien cut the transmission. The hegemony ships began to move away from Earth, gathering into formation. "They're retreating," Captain Han said in disbelief. "They're actually retreating." Across Earth and its colonies, people watched as the mighty hegemony fleet withdrew. Reports came in that the ships were jumping to faster than light travel, leaving the solar system. In the council chambers, President Lee shook Taiho's hand. "You did it, Admiral. You saved Earth." Taiho shook his head. "This was just the first test. They will be back, with more ships and new tactics. But today, we showed the galaxy something important." "What's that?" asked the President. "That humans will not be conquered," Taiho said firmly, "and that the hegemony can be defeated." Deep beneath the city of New Geneva, Defense Minister Yoon Soo-jae sat in the war room with Admiral Kim Taiho and Dr. Choi Eun-mei. They watched a stolen broadcast from the Hegemony Interstellar Network on the large screen. A purple-skinned alien news presenter spoke with exaggerated concern. "Breaking news. The Galactic Health Authority has declared Earth a Level 1 quarantine zone. Scientific analysis has confirmed that humans harbor extremely dangerous biological agents capable of cross-species contamination. All hegemony citizens are forbidden from approaching the Sol system under penalty of exile. Suji smiled as the broadcast ended. They couldn't defeat us, so they're trying to isolate us. Tai-ho nodded, and inadvertently giving us exactly what we wanted, to be left alone. Not exactly, said Yunmai, leaning forward in her chair. The xenobiologist's eyes sparkled with an idea. I suggest we enhance this narrative. Let's make them believe we're even more dangerous than they claim. How? Asked Suji. We use their fear against them. Spread stories about humans that make us seem terrifying. 1 month later, Earth's intelligence team met to review their progress. Agent Ba Dong-won, head of information operations, displayed a map of nearby star systems. The rumors are spreading faster than we expected, he reported. We've targeted trading hubs and border worlds where information flows freely. On the screen, he showed intercepted messages from alien worlds. Humans can regrow limbs if injured. They drink poison for pleasure. Their blood contains metals. They can survive in space without protection for minutes. They see in more spectrum ranges than any known species. Some stories were true. Humans did drink alcohol, which was poison to many alien species. Some were exaggerated. Humans couldn't regrow limbs, but could survive severe injuries. Others were complete fabrications. Are they believing it? Asked President Lee. Completely, Dong-won replied. The hegemony tried to counter some rumors, but that only made people more curious. Their quarantine has backfired. Now everyone wants to know about the dangerous humans. The plan worked better than expected. 3 months after the quarantine announcement, sensors detected an unidentified ship approaching Mars. It's not hegemony design, reported Captain Han Do-yeon from the defense station. Smaller, older model, possibly a trading vessel. Approach with caution, ordered Tai-ho. But don't scare them away. The ship was called Opportunity, captained by a reptilian alien named Rill. He was the first of many independent traders willing to risk the quarantine for profit. The forbidden fruit is always the most desired, Rill told Tai-ho during their first meeting. The alien's scales shimmered as he laughed. Half the galaxy is curious about the humans too dangerous for the mighty hegemony to handle. And what do you seek from us? Tai-ho asked. Trade. Rill replied simply. You have resources. I have information and goods from across the galaxy. More traders followed. Some came for Earth's unique plants, others for art or music. Each brought valuable information about the hegemony and its worlds. 6 months after the quarantine, Earth had established a network of friendly contacts throughout nearby systems. Through these connections, they learned about other worlds suffering under hegemony control. The Voleri system is ready to rebel, reported Ambassador Kang Min-ho during a council meeting. Their mineral resources were depleted last year, and the hegemony has reduced food shipments. The Kareth people have been secretly building weapons, added Agent Dong-won. Their forest world was being clear-cut until they sabotaged the harvesting equipment. Earth began careful communication with these resistance movements. At first, they shared only information and encouragement. Later, they sent small teams to train fighters and provide basic technology. 1 year after the failed invasion, Admiral Tai-ho met with Captain Rill again. The alien trader had become a trusted ally, carrying messages too sensitive for normal channels. The Hegemony Council is worried, Rill reported. They've increased patrols near rebellious worlds, but it's stretching their fleet thin. And what do people say about Earth now? Asked Tai-ho. Rill made a sound like stones grinding together, his species' version of laughter. The stories grow more fantastic each cycle. Some believe humans can read minds. Others think you can control machines with thought alone. And you? What do you believe? The alien's eyes narrowed. I believe the hegemony has finally met its match. For 1,000 years, they conquered and exploited without challenge. Now they fear the planet they couldn't conquer. That night, Taiho stood on his balcony looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, millions of beings lived under hegemony control. Some had never known freedom. Others had forgotten what it felt like. His communication device beeped. It was President Lee. "Admiral, we've received a message from the Tolani resistance. They're ready to accept our help." Taiho smiled. "Tell them we'll send a team immediately." The hegemony had tried to isolate Earth by declaring it dangerous. Instead, they had created a beacon of hope for oppressed worlds across the galaxy. The forbidden planet was becoming the center of a revolution. In a secure room deep beneath New Geneva, Admiral Kim Taiho stood before the holographic display showing dozens of planets throughout hegemony space. 5 years had passed since Earth had repelled the invasion. 5 years of preparation, building, and planning. "Operation Prometheus is go," Taiho announced to the assembled commanders. His hair had begun to gray at the temples, but his eyes remained sharp and determined. The room was silent for a moment, as everyone absorbed the weight of the decision. Earth was moving from defense to action. "The first ships are ready," reported General Park Minjai. 10 stealth vessels using the technology we developed from the Gobi Desert crash site. They're completely invisible to hegemony sensors. Captain Kim Ha-won would lead the first mission. She was young but brilliant, with a gift for languages that had helped her learn 3 alien tongues. "Your target is Taurus," Taiho told her during the final briefing. "Their people have been mining rare minerals for the hegemony for 30 years. Their resistance movement has reached out through our network." "What exactly are we offering them?" Ha-won asked. "Hope," Taiho replied, "and the means to fight back." 3 weeks later, Ha-won's ship arrived at Taurus. The planet's surface was scarred with massive mines. The stealth technology worked perfectly. No hegemony patrols detected them. Under cover of darkness, Ha-won's team met with the Tauralian resistance in an abandoned mine shaft. The Tauralians were tall beings with tough gray skin, evolved for the harsh mining conditions of their world. "We come from Earth," Ha-won told them. "We offer technology, weapons, and training to help you reclaim your independence." The Tauralian leader touched the shield generator Ha-won had brought. "The hegemony told us Earth was quarantined, too dangerous to approach." "They lied," Ha-won said, "just as they lied about many things." Similar missions happened across the galaxy. Earth's ships visited dozens of worlds, bringing Aegis shield technology, weapons, and tactical advice. Most importantly, they brought proof that the hegemony could be defeated. Within months, a dozen worlds had risen in open rebellion. The Tolani homeworld was the first to drive out hegemony forces entirely. Within a year, 30 more planets had declared independence. The hegemony, never having faced such widespread resistance, struggled to respond. Their massive fleet, once seemingly all-powerful, was now stretched across too many systems. Admiral Taiho monitored the reports from his command center. "The hegemony has pulled forces from the Krell sector to fight rebels in the Maris system," he noted. "That leaves their supply routes exposed." President Lee nodded. "Your strategy is working. The Empire is beginning to crack." 2 years into Operation Prometheus, Admiral Taiho received an unexpected communication request from the Hegemony Supreme Council itself. The command staff gathered to witness the historic moment. On the main screen appeared the Prime Counselor, a being of pure energy contained in an ornate floating vessel. Around him were representatives of the hegemony's most powerful species. "Admiral Kim Taiho," the Prime Counselor began. His voice was strange, as if multiple beings spoke together. "We may have misunderstood each other. Perhaps it is time to discuss new terms." The room erupted in cheers when the transmission ended. "They want to negotiate," President Lee said in amazement. "The mighty hegemony wants peace." Taiho remained cautious. "They want to stop losing worlds. We must ensure any agreement protects all species, not just humans." 6 months of difficult negotiations followed. Earth insisted that all resource species be granted independence and reparations. The hegemony initially refused but finally agreed when faced with more rebellions. The signing of the Turin Accords took place aboard a newly built space station named Harmony. Representatives from hundreds of worlds attended. Former hegemony members, independent systems, and newly liberated planets. President Yoon Soo-ji, who had succeeded Lee Jung-gai, led the Earth delegation. She stood tall at the central podium, addressing the largest gathering of species in galactic history. Today marks not just peace between Earth and the former hegemony, she said, but the foundation of a new interstellar community based on mutual respect. No longer will advanced worlds exploit developing ones. No longer will any species be classified as a resource. We will progress together, or not at all. As she spoke, Admiral Taiho watched from the side, his hair now fully gray. He thought of that first day when the hegemony ship appeared, how close Earth had come to becoming just another conquered world. Later, in the observation lounge, he stood with Captain Han Du-yeon, watching the stars. Ships from dozens of worlds passed by the viewport, no longer segregated by status or power. Did you ever imagine, when that first ship appeared, that we would end up here? Du-yeon asked. Taiho smiled. I always knew humanity was destined for something important. We just needed the right challenge to show our true potential. The old admiral placed his hand on the cool glass, looking out at the galaxy that had changed forever. The planet that had shut its doors to an empire had opened the way for something better. A community of worlds where freedom and dignity were not earned by power, but guaranteed by right.